What's up everybody, I'm Jaspreet Singh, and a lot of crypto investors are wondering if the crypto market is, well, broken. If you just look at the beginning part of 2022, we went from Bitcoin rallying to almost $70,000 a coin, to countries adopting cryptocurrency, to Wall Street talking about Bitcoin taking over physical gold, and then this happened. Bitcoin went from almost taking over the world to being cut in half in just a matter of weeks. Then came, unfortunately, Russia's war on Ukraine, and this was supposed to be Bitcoin's opportunity to shine because Bitcoin is supposed to be an inflationary hedge, and now when everybody was worried about inflation from this war, Bitcoin kept going down. This really had people questioning, is Bitcoin really the next digital gold? Because while people were worried about inflation and cryptocurrency was going down, gold kept shooting up in price. Now, anybody who's been involved with cryptocurrency for more than, say, 3 months now knows that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is very volatile, which is why we recently just saw Bitcoin have a major rally as well. But the real question that investors are trying to solve here has to do with, is Bitcoin a real inflationary hedge? And if not, what value does Bitcoin actually provide? The simple answer is you have a limited supply of Bitcoin. So if more and more people want to own Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin will rise as long as more people want to own Bitcoin tomorrow than today. But it's not so simple because you also have to accept the fact that people have to freely be able to buy and sell Bitcoin. Bitcoin was created as the people's movement of money, where people can decide what their currency is, and then they can start transacting with Bitcoin and own Bitcoin because they want to use it, but it's only free until it's not free to use. Canada really showed us the power and values of freedom because they started taking some of that away when it comes to cryptocurrency, because they started seizing people's cryptocurrency portfolios and taking it away from them. We've talked about cryptocurrency regulations happening overseas in countries like China and India, but now we're talking about our neighbor to the north, Canada. And this naturally has the United States also wanting to create more regulations over cryptocurrency, because if you cannot control the monetary supply as the government, then you also lose your power and your control over people. So naturally, we've talked about this before, the government does not want to lose their power over people, which means they want to maintain their control over the money supply. And this is happening at the exact same time where we're seeing real-world applications of cryptocurrency as Ukraine is fundraising their war operations through cryptocurrency. So to really understand what's going on with cryptocurrency right now, there's 4 things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about rules and freedoms with cryptocurrency, more specifically talking about what happened in Canada. Then I want to talk about how cryptocurrency is changing. And then I want to talk about how cryptocurrency is playing a part overseas. And then I want to talk about what all this means and what you should be doing with your money right now. So let me start by talking about number 1. Sometimes we forget how lucky we are in the United States, because the United States is the freest country in the world. And you start to see the powers of that when you look at some of the other countries that aren't as free. So Canada, for example, had some very strict vaccine requirements, and this had some truckers protesting. Now, whether or not you believe in vaccines, it's up to you. It's your right to believe whatever you want, but you had some truckers that did not like this mandate, and so they started protesting. When these protests started to happen, people were donating money to the truckers, that way they could continue protesting, and the Canadian government did not like that, so they froze the bank accounts and they froze some of these fundraising efforts so the truckers could not get these dollars. That's when the truckers moved to cryptocurrency and they started soliciting donations in the form of crypto. The Canadian government didn't like that the protests were opposing what the government wanted to do, so they declared a national emergency. That way they could override some of the laws, and that way they could seize bank accounts and seize money. And they also used this national emergency to then seize people's crypto wallets. The reason why this is so concerning, whether you're a crypto investor or not, is you don't want the government to decide when they can just seize your property. You don't want the government to say that they can just come in and take your cryptocurrency away from you, or that they can come and just take your money out of your bank account, or that they can just come and take your car out of your driveway if they don't like what you're doing. There should be some sort of due process to really take your property away from you. But the reason why it becomes so concerning when you talk about cryptocurrency, because this is exactly what cryptocurrency was trying to go against. Cryptocurrency was aimed as giving more power and freedom to the user, the people, because now you're not controlled by one central agency, you're not controlled by one central government, you're not controlled by the central banks. You control the money. The money supply and the users are controlled by the same people, the actual people that use Bitcoin. But now the government came in and they started seizing it from people, which has people wondering what's going to happen if you see more widespread adoption of cryptocurrency and people start moving away from the dollar, and then governments start losing their power over people. would they just come in and force you to sell your cryptocurrency, or could they potentially seize your cryptocurrency? We've seen similar things happen in the past. When the United States government started to shift away from the gold standard, they didn't want you to use gold. They wanted you to use the United States dollar. So what they did was they made it impossible for you to transact with gold because they made it illegal for you to own gold, and they started seizing your gold. If you owned gold in the United States, the government would seize it from you. Now, none of this should really come at a surprise because most people who've been enthusiastic and excited about cryptocurrency have known that cryptocurrency, once it starts to grow and be more widely adopted, it is going to pose more threats to governments, and that's when governments are going to start creating regulations. That's why some of the biggest cryptocurrency holders in the world have said that they are going to need some sort of regulation over cryptocurrency. That way you can see widespread adoption, because once the governments feel okay that they're regulating it to some extent, then people can freely own it and not have to worry about government control. This is why we're seeing debates in Congress right now with the United States government trying to decide how much to regulate cryptocurrency and when to do it. So these are things you want to be aware of. And just to kind of protect yourself, this is another reason why you might want to consider having a cold wallet to protect your cryptocurrency. A cold wallet is an external USB drive that holds on to your cryptocurrency, because now it's not on the cloud, it's held in your USB drive, and you can take it completely off of the internet and you can protect your cryptocurrency. That way nobody can come in from the internet to try to hack or steal or seize your cryptocurrency, because it'll be in your wallet, and then you can put this wallet somewhere safe. You can put this USB somewhere where no one can see and is safe somewhere. That way nobody can access it to protect your money. And this brings me to number 2, which is how cryptocurrency is changing, because we're really starting to see cryptocurrency evolve. Originally, cryptocurrency started just as a digital worldwide currency. It was supposed to be a money that you can use, that you can transport anywhere in the world, that didn't have borders. So you don't have to worry about transporting your dollars and converting that to rubles, or taking your dollars and converting that to Indian rupees, or taking your dollars and converting that to pesos. It's Bitcoin, which is the same around the world. So you don't have to worry about these type of conversion rates. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Because if you think about a worker in Mexico, let's talk about a waiter. A waiter in Mexico is going to work hard, just like a waiter in the United States. But a waiter in the United States is going to earn more money relative to a waiter in Mexico, just because of the currency that they're going to be paid in. Now, if this waiter in the United States then goes to Mexico and then spent the earnings that he got, he's going to have more buying power and more ability to purchase and spend than the waiter in Mexico, just because he was paid in a different currency. But Bitcoin and cryptocurrency removes borders. That way everybody's transacting with the same type of currency, which makes the global economy even more global, because now you're not paid and valued by where you live and by where you're working. You're paid and compensated by the amount of value that you provide. This is why you're seeing a lot of smaller countries start to adopt cryptocurrency first, because they have a lot more upside. If your currency is not very valuable, but you can switch over to something like Bitcoin, which has more value, and now you can start transacting and earning in Bitcoin, well, now you have the power to earn more money on a relative scale, because you're using a more valuable currency. That's why so many people around the world want dollars. They want United States dollars because it's the world's reserve currency. But if the dollar started to lose its value, well, that would create a lot of problems, not just for the United States, for countries around the world, because so many countries are transacting with dollars. That's one of the reasons why you saw the ruble in Russia collapse, because that country also depended on the United States dollar, and then when we started implementing sanctions, that hurt the ruble. Now, this doesn't mean that everything in cryptocurrency is good. I mean, you have a lot of people coming into cryptocurrency hoping that they can get rich quick, hoping that they'll be able to turn $1,000 into $100,000 essentially overnight, which is also given the rise to a lot of scams in cryptocurrency. So if you are interested in cryptocurrency, make sure you do your research, make sure you know what you're buying, and don't get caught into these get rich quick schemes, because if something seems too good to be true, then it probably is. Now, if you are interested in buying cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can use a platform like BlockFi. It's a sponsor of Minority Mindset. They make it super simple for you to buy Bitcoin, and they also let you open up a credit card where you can get paid not in cash back, but in Bitcoin back. So if you want to learn more about BlockFi and see how you can start earning some cryptocurrency, or if you want to buy some cryptocurrency, I'll put the link to how you can do that down in the description below. But now we're starting to see cryptocurrency evolve into the next phase of cryptocurrency, which is not just as a currency, but now as a technology. The first popular adoption of that was NFTs, but now we're starting to see the growth of things like the metaverse. This is a whole new world based around the technology of blockchain, which allow you to live a whole new world, not in your real life here, but in your digital life. And it kind of feels weird for me to say that, because you're watching this video not in person, you're watching this through a screen, which means you're watching a digital version of this video. But now you can live a whole life through a screen. I'm a real estate investor. I own physical real estate, but I don't own any real estate in the metaverse. Maybe I will one day. I don't know. I don't think I know enough about that yet. But this is where people are taking their real dollars. People are spending real money, sometimes hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, to buy this sort of digital art because people are really starting to value their life on the internet behind the screen, and they're valuing it more than what they see in real life. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves over the next decade, but you don't want to get overexcited. You don't want to go in and start buying the hype. You want to understand what's going on, because anytime you see a new craze, you're going to see a boom and bust. We've seen this happen for generations. Millennials know this. Back when we were growing up, we had Beanie Babies from McDonald's and the other gifts that McDonald's would give with their Happy Meals. Those were the things that everybody wanted to own, and they had booms and busts, and you have to understand that you're going to see the same thing happen in cryptocurrency, and you could see a massive crash in the cryptocurrency market, kind of like what you saw happen in 2000 and 2001 in the dot-com market. But that didn't mean that the internet went away. That just eliminated all the crap on the internet. And so you have to understand there's also crap in the cryptocurrency space, and if we do see a crash in there, you're going to see the crap go away. Doesn't mean the cryptocurrency and the blockchain is just going to disappear, because this is a new technology that has a lot of implications that can be used, which will change the way people live their lives. Third, I want to talk about what's going on overseas. In the fall of 2021, Ukraine went out and they legalized Bitcoin, and they gave it a lot more legitimacy in the country. Then when Russia started the war on Ukraine, Ukraine needed more money in order to fund their operations and get more military equipment, so they put out a tweet. The country of Ukraine put out a tweet asking for cryptocurrency donations. They asked for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. And at first people were skeptical. Could a country really be asking for donations in cryptocurrency? But then it turned out to be true. And then in just a couple days, they raised over $10 million in cryptocurrency donations from people around the world who wanted to support Ukraine. And then over the days, the amount of money that they kept getting in donations kept going up and up and up through cryptocurrency. This is pretty powerful because you don't really see governments crowdfunding money for war efforts. And in this case, you're seeing a government crowdfund money in the form of cryptocurrency. And again, cryptocurrency was intended to be the people's movement of money, so it gives people the opportunity to support governments and to support organizations that they want through the power of their own money, because now you're not limited and controlled by any sort of dollar or any sort of government. Because if a government said, hey, you're not allowed to donate or you're not allowed to give money to somebody else, well, then you'd be limited from that. But now in order for you to transact with cryptocurrency, you don't have those same boundaries because you're not controlled or regulated by one central entity. Now, this goes back to the question of inflation, because in general, inflation should be benefiting Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because when inflation happens, that means that the value of the dollar is going down. And when people are worried about the value of the dollar going down, that's when they dump the dollar and they buy other commodities like gold, and then it should be Bitcoin, right? But in this case, we didn't see Bitcoin move like gold. For a lot of days, we saw Bitcoin move in the opposite direction of gold. When gold went up, Bitcoin went down. When gold went down, Bitcoin went up. So did it make sense? Because gold is your traditional inflationary hedge. So everybody was wondering, is cryptocurrency broken? Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that Bitcoin is not your traditional inflationary hedge. It has not been around long enough, and maybe over time it could become an inflationary hedge, but there's too much volatility in Bitcoin for people to want to own it just as an inflationary hedge. However, as a technology and as a true source of money, it could create real value that could help out people around the world, because now you can own real money that's deflationary rather than inflationary. This is why people like Bitcoin, and I'll explain what that means. When you look at the dollar is an inflationary asset because there's no limit to how many dollars can be created. The Federal Reserve Bank can create an unlimited amount of dollars, and the more dollars that they create, the less value that each dollar that you have has. That's why over the last years, we've been seeing the prices of things go up. Not just because greedy business owners want to charge more money, but also because the value of a dollar is going down, and the price of everything, not just your groceries, but from labor to actually farm the groceries, the price of everything has been going up because the value of the dollar is going down. This is what inflation is. And so when people are worried about inflation, that's when they move to other things. And so as the value of the dollar goes down, you would think that Bitcoin prices would go up, but we didn't see that directly happen. But Bitcoin itself has a limited supply. There is a 21 million cap of Bitcoin, which means it's deflationary. Because if you have a limited supply of something and a growing demand, so this assumes that more and more people are going to want to own Bitcoin. If you have a growing demand, more people don't want to buy Bitcoin, but a limited supply, that would push the price of Bitcoin up. This is why people look at Bitcoin as a deflationary asset, because if you imagine a time, this is sometime in the future, if this happens, where you start saving your money not in dollars, but now Bitcoin, well, now if more and more people start to do that around the world, well, now you have an asset that's actually going up in price. And as you save your money, you're getting a real return because the value of Bitcoin is going up. So in that case, savers become winners because you own an asset that's appreciating in value, versus in the dollar, savers are losers. Because when you save your money is losing buying power. Your savings can buy less and less things year after year after year because of the high inflation that we're seeing. And it doesn't look like inflation is going to slow down anytime soon. So over the long run, now I could be wrong here. Over the long run, high inflation is good news for Bitcoin. It might not be a direct inflationary hedge, but over the long run, if more and more people get worried about what's going to happen to their dollar, they're going to look for alternative sources to save money. One might be gold, one might be real estate, one might be stocks, but another might be cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, because that is another way for you to save money if you believe in the value of Bitcoin, but it's another way for you to save money and actually get a return on your money. And this brings me to number 4. What should you be doing with your money? So a lot of people look at Bitcoin as digital gold. Now, I own physical gold. I understand that gold is a real inflationary hedge. When I invest in physical gold, I'm not really trying to get a real return on my money. For me, I look at it like saving hard money. Gold is real money. And so when I own gold, it's just another way for me to save money. But Bitcoin, that's what I used to think about Bitcoin. When I used to buy Bitcoin, I was like, oh, this is just another way for me to save money. But now over time, I've started to evolve the way I think about Bitcoin, and it's really started to become more of an investment for me because I understand that there's a lot of technology behind the cryptocurrency more than it is just another way for me to save money. So I own Bitcoin. I also own gold. Now, before you invest in anything, before you go out and invest in gold, before you go out and buy Bitcoin, you have to understand what it is you're buying, and you want to believe in whatever it is that you're buying, because you first off never want to blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. You want to always do your own due diligence, and you want to understand what it is that you're buying. The reason why so many people lose money when they invest is because they just throw their money into things that they don't understand, that they don't believe in, because they hope that it'll make them rich quick. That is a surefire way to broke. If you are looking for a true inflationary hedge, that is your main concern. If you're just looking for a way to hedge inflation, then gold is a great option for you, because that is what gold has been proven to do. We've seen that happen over centuries. But if you're looking for something a little bit more speculative, something that has more growth potential but could also potentially go down, then Bitcoin is another option for you. I would not go out and just start buying Bitcoin as my inflationary hedge. If you want an inflationary hedge, buy gold. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more speculative, that could be that inflationary hedge, that could see more potential upside, well, that's where Bitcoin comes in. But again, in order for Bitcoin to really take off and to continue growing in value, you need more adoption of it, and you need more and more people that believe in the value of Bitcoin. Now, I own Bitcoin, so I think that's going to happen. But you have to believe in that yourself before you just jump in and join the bandwagon and just start buying Bitcoin because everybody else is. You need to understand why you are buying and what you are buying. That way you can be an educated investor, because the whole point of financial education is you're making financially educated decisions with your money. Because if you do not do that, then you're going to come in and you're going to overbuy, and you're going to buy at the peak, and then you're going to sell at the bottom because you didn't understand what was going on. If you enjoyed this video, here's an interview that I did with Peter Schiff, who is a big gold person who thinks Bitcoin is going to zero. And while you're at it, if you want to start generating passive income, you can download my free ebook by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep hustling.
If we continue until we have, hyperinflation, we wipe out everybody, and it's